It was a full-blown riot. In southern and southwest Jefferson County, the first 2 days of court-ordered busing, a Thursday and Friday in September of 1975. School buses were attacked, rocks and bottles thrown. One man tried to run a bus right off the road. All as black students were being bused for the first time to all-white schools and vice versa. The violence in this section of Louisville caused a state of emergency that made national news. The Chicago Tribune headline blared, 10,000 rampage in Louisville busing fight. The scenes are not forgotten by Amy Stewart, who grew up in Valley Station, now family resource coordinator at Greenwood Elementary School.
We accidentally drove through one of the riots one night, and I remember being fearful.
Not forgotten by Greenwood principal Dylan Owens, who also grew up nearby.
It was a very divided time then in our city.
But Greenwood occupies a special place in the history of the rioting, the racial tension, and our city. And it all happened in the snap of a second.
This is the classroom.
Where the photo was taken.
Where the photo was taken.
At the age of 8, Mark Stewart, now 49, had no idea his simple gesture would reset the view of Louisville to the world.
Photographer standing in the doorway. Okay, as soon as I saw the flash, I looked over and he was standing about right here.
Taken on the first day to school during the unrest. The late Courier-Journal and Louisville Times photographer Michael Kors happened to look in the classroom. Sitting there was Mark Stewart alone at his desk. He saw 9-year-old Darrell Hughes walking in.
Here walked Darrell in the room. He had the high platform shoes on, you know, cruising by, and I was like, well, here's my chance to make him feel welcome, you know. So I reached up my hand to him. I reached my hand out to shake it. Got my hand up like this in his hand, you know, going by. It just went like that. He went by and I said, welcome to Greenwood. Good to have you. And he's like, he just nodded his head and he just walked on back. He did smile a little bit, like, you know, he was relieved. And I remember this like it was yesterday.
The picture was just so graphic and so quick.
The photo would go on to win the Pulitzer Prize.
I mean, just happened just like that.
Kors died in 2007 after battling complications from Lyme disease. Bill Luster worked closely with him and knows the story behind the photo.
He got it because he was walking down the hall and he walked into this room and there it happened. He was in there maybe 10 seconds.
Darrell Hughes graduated from Iroquois High School in 1985 and left Louisville, working construction jobs across the South. He told the Courier-Journal in 1995 that he was scared to death that day. But in the end, race relations can be dealt with like work. Do the right thing. Blacks and whites together, Hughes said he's always had more white friends than black.
And here's the awards over the years.
Stewart loved Greenwood.
My mother always made sure I was the first one in school and the first one in the first row.
In fact, he came back to the school as the head custodian 21 years ago and will retire in June. His daughter went to school here, and he met his wife Amy right here as well. The photo is ever present.
I see an innocent little boy sitting in the front row of his desk, or of his classroom, and another innocent little boy just trying to get through the first day of school.
From WHAS 11, this is Thunder over Louisville.
Very dedicated to the community and furthering aviation.
Yeah, they said to me, we've even got a general flying with us. And they said, oh,
not
he's going to be on TV
yeah,
with
I know,
you.
I know. Yeah, I get kicked out of the club today. I'm here in the set, but I'm having more fun.
Rob, did you kind of have to relearn, though? I mean, it'd be checked out and learn how to fly this different kind of plane? Because this is totally different than the jets you were flying.
Well, so that's the thing that we talk about is that people always ask, can you fly that? And I go, absolutely, as soon as you teach me how to start it. So, yes, pilots have to learn each individual aircraft. There are different emergency procedures on this. This Russian design uses air more than instead of hydraulics.
We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more sights and sounds from the air show here at the waterfront.
They have become one of the most deployed Air National Guard units in the entire country.
They practice all the time. Any day of the week, you can be downtown Louisville and look up, and here's the C-130s going in and out over the city.
Yeah, that's right. And my hope is for this unit to have such notoriety. I mean, everybody in Louisville should know what a C-130 is. should know what it looks like. And when you see it overhead, know that those are your guardsmen that are out there doing their best work.
And most famously, as we brought up just a little while ago, and there's its speed at 366 miles per hour. It was Thursday, April 13th, when a C-130 did drop that bomb, the mother of all bombs, as they called it, on Afghanistan. So we're seeing exactly.
Yep, it's that type of airframe. Obviously, it wasn't our guys that did that, but yes, that's right.
It wasn't. We put a GoPro camera on the Golden Knights as they were doing that practice session. And guys, just to let you know, I was on my way to work, and so I got stuck in that traffic jam on the 3rd Street ramp. They had shut down the ramp, and all of us were there watching these guys, and the windows were down, and I heard people applauding all around us as they were coming in.
Okay, well, so maybe if we hold on this shot long enough, we'll see you. On the third.
With my camera out the sunroof.
Those two gentlemen there with the fireworks company on the right-hand side, Michael Richards, they're getting ready. They're watching the barges come into place, looking out the river. All smiles right now as we prepare, Renee and Doug, for what is going to be a fantastic event. Now, 51 minutes straight up.
Hey, Chris, I was going to say, don't touch that board behind you. You got awfully close to that little digital board there.
Yeah, I don't even want to do that number. I think. Yeah, see Mandy,
the propellers they've got lights around them, highlighting them.
I know he's got lights in the cowling that which gives it that alien vibe to it as it's going through the sky. But you don't often find performers that like to do aerobatics at night. It's neat that he's able to come out and do this for us again.
He's one of the few that do that. This plane originally built back in the 1940s. It can reach speeds of 250 miles an hour. It's lit up like that of getting us ready for the fireworks show.
Look, he turned his lights off and then on. I mean, and this is so clear. Just imagine what these fireworks are going to look like at 9:30.
It is going to be amazing. Speaking of the fireworks, we want to go back up to our command center.
I was born on July 4th. 1776. And the Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate.
Working diligently behind the scenes, but it's orchestra leader and composer Teddy Abrams who has been working behind the music.
You have to think about how this music is going to work with incredibly loud, very boomy fireworks that are supposed to be working together in collaboration.
Engineering is set and go. System lock. We're locked. Go. Command direct.
Command is green and go. We are ready for launch, Wayne.
Thanks, Mandy. Stand by for count. From Thunder Command, we are go for launch.
10, 9, 8, ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Man, isn't that cool, Doug? Well, I'll tell you what, welcome everybody to Eclipseville, USA, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, the center point of the Great American Eclipse, where we are about 24 minutes away. And right now we have about 50% of the sun gone, more so, as a partial eclipse is over the skies of Christian County, Kentucky. We are so pleased to be bringing you here. I don't know if it was more of a miracle of the eclipse or the miracle that we all got here, but the traffic wasn't as bad. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt. Glad to be here with you. Meteorologist Jared Heil and Chris Williams, who's been down here for the last couple of months.
We kind of have a little setup here. We've been showing you the camera that we have focused on the sun and the moon, and we've developed a little bit of a line here of folks who have been wanting to get another special look at it without having to use their glasses. You can can see a lot of kids have really been taking a part of this. Their parents really amazed to see what it looks like as this is happening. So it really is a great experience out here. And even Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher is around here somewhere. His vehicle is still here. We talked to him a little bit earlier, and he said this has just been a great experience for this entire area.
Because it looks like the clouds you would see at sunset. Those thunderstorms I showed you a bit ago.
Look at the dark. Over this direction
off
here.
to the
Wow,
northwest, it looks just like sunset.
But it's crazy because you have that ring all the way around us on the horizon. Everywhere you look,
Yes.
there's that color of a sunset or a sunrise.
Oh my goodness.
So 2 minutes and 40 seconds we're supposed to get it here. And the minute that moon starts moving, we'll know it. We'll be throwing our glasses back.
And off to the south, I see another star.
Another star, yes.
Now, I don't see any birds, but I see a lot of aircraft.
There we go.
Look at that. Look at that shot from our telescope cam. Nate Davis, our engineer, doing such a beautiful job.
I see a star.
And you see the star. We can't see that with the naked eye.
I can't see it. No, I cannot see it.
I can't see that one, but I can see some.
And you know what?
Again, that view coming through a telescope, through a special camera we have attached to the end of the telescope.
The corona is not bright enough to see through the eclipse glasses. Did you notice you had to take the glasses off to see the totality?
These eclipse glasses work, that's
What
for sure.
a beautiful shot
and
we have there with that camera, though.
The aircraft are in the air. They just crack me up. They're all over the place.
I see a Bailey's bead now on the lower right corner, as we're now going to be seeing the light come back on the opposite side of the sun here in the next minute or so as totality ends.
Well, first of all, it's awesome to have the family here. Share it with someone. Doing this solo would be a bummer. And then I was born in the wrong century. I'm the old school, so, you know, God orders the cosmos pretty well, and here on Earth we don't do such a good job of ordering it. So it's just kind of fun to see the glory of the heavens. It's awesome stuff.
And you said it was so special to be here with your kids. Kind of walk me through that again, just the different stages and seeing everything.
I mean, they're good. I mean, the hardest part was keeping their glasses on as a parent.
They're moving
but
good.
Yeah, I think the reveal, her mouth was wide open, her mouth was wide open, and just being able to share this with them, and hopefully, like I said, in the future, go to a few more, because that was well worth the drive we made down here, and the wait, the heat. It was pretty hot out here today. Just
every pit stop, every Happy Meal at McDonald's, maybe. You said euphoric. Oh, that's great. You said euphoric. I thought that was such a great word.
It is. Like looking at it again, but yeah, just euphoric. Having everyone here.
Good?
Live from WHAS 11, it is the Cardinal Countdown. It is 7 o'clock, folks, but really, we should name this special the Final Countdown. We are in the final 60 minutes before what feels like a national championship game here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. You can see folks coming into the stadium. The Card March happened a little before 6 o'clock. They opened the gates at 6. And we are going to count you down to this amazing matchup between Clemson, the defending national championships, and the Louisville Cardinals. Good evening, everyone. I'm Doug Proffitt, along with sports director. And the Cardinal team is out on the field. Been roars, cheers when Clemson showed up, a bit of the boos from the Cardinal fan. Joining us live now, Lonnie Ali, who also joined us at the Florida State game a year ago. Of course, the champ died 1 year ago in June. How's your initiative going, Ali, and all of us? How are you keeping his legacy alive now?
Well, the Ali Center is here, but the legacy with regards to the Ali and all of us is still going on. I had to pull back a little bit because I had some health issues, but as soon as I'm out of rehab, I'm back at it. I'm very passionate about that initiative, Ali 75. And actually, we've called it Ali and all of us. It's finding the humanity in all of us, being able to recognize that. So I'm very excited about that.
Great name.
Yes, it is.
Lonnie, one of the things that we have seen so much in the past year is you've been present more and more at Louisville sporting events and in the community. How much has that meant to you in the last year?
Oh, so much. You know, this was a tradition for Muhammad and I. Tom was so sweet. He always invited us to the first game of the season, football season, and we stay in Louisville until then because we had to come. So I'm trying to continue that tradition. I mean, look at this. This is the second game day that we've had in Louisville, University of Louisville's history, and this stadium will be full. It will be packed. And I really have to tip my hat to Tom Jurich on this because he has made this a fun-filled day. And I can't believe at Louisville, little Louisville, we probably have the most sought-after AD in the nation. And we have them. And you know what? There are a lot of greats that came from Louisville, my husband being one of them. But I think, and you know, they always say this is Muhammad's Louisville. Well, I think this is Tom Jurich's Louisville, too.
Tonight, former athletic director Tom Jurich is giving his first interview since being fired by U of L, sitting down exclusively with us. He made it clear no question was off limits. In this segment, he talks about John Schnatter's criticism of the athletic department, the hiring of his son at U of L, and UK fans who've approached him. And the one thing disappointed Cardinal fans have yet to hear until right now. Does anyone need to say I'm sorry to the fans, the coaches, the athletes?
I'll say it. I'm sure I'll be the first one to say it. Because I don't want anybody to have to go through any of this. I don't want to go through it myself, but it is. It's reality, so you deal with it.
And so you want to say it?
I did. I am sorry.
Is it reasonable in your mind in any way that the board came to the conclusion that you are no longer effective as a leader of that department?
That I can't answer. I can't speak for the board. I really wasn't a part of any of those meetings, so I don't know. It's a new board. It's new. I think it's foreign to everybody around the campus right now.
The Board of Trustees is new, but it has one powerful, well-known member deeply tied to U of L who may have sealed Jurich's fate after 20 years.
When I say the name John Schnatter, what runs through your mind?
I'm very appreciative. I'm very appreciative of what he's done. You know, he's, for like I said, 19 and a half years, I thought I had a great relationship with John.
The leadership is invisible.
The moment he said in that meeting that was so widely covered that Tom's invisible, fix athletics and you'll fix the university.
I didn't understand that. I really didn't. I still to this day don't understand it, but I don't think anybody in our department would ever think I'm invisible. I don't think anybody in this community thought I was invisible. You know, I never went to Board of Trustee meetings because I was never asked to. I was told, in fact, I was told by previous 3 or 4 presidents, you don't go to those.
That must have hurt when Schnatter said you were invisible.
It did, because we were coming back from the Air Force Academy. We were out there for a conference, and when we landed, the phone had blown up, and so I was shocked. I can't lie to you, I was shocked.
Did you call him up and say,
I didn't.
John, what's going on?
I didn't.
What did he mean by if you fix athletics, you'll fix the university?
I don't know. I really don't. I've never talked to him about it.
But that was a shot right at you.
There's been a lot of shots at me, Doug. Let's be honest about it. There's been a lot of shots at me. But I got to take them.
The Adidas deal. In early September, still on the job, Jurich wrote a pointed letter to U of L's general counsel and copied the president, Greg Postal.
How disappointing. So you're taking a shot at him right there.
No, I'm not taking a shot. It's just, it was very disappointing. Everybody around the country celebrating, and I thought maybe our university could too. And it was just a handful of people that didn't.
After replacing Jurich, Postal said he didn't want anything to do with Adidas if the deal was tainted by the FBI investigation. After a review, acting athletic director Vince Tyree cleared Jurich's work, saying he saw nothing negative with it.
Their own attorneys wrote the deal that are housed in that office.
Was Postal involved in it? Is that why he's maybe saying he wasn't aware of it?
I certainly would be very aware of it.
Why are they saying that as one of the reasons that they fired you?
I think they're saying a lot of things.
The letter of dismissal says when U of L looked for written evaluations of coaches, they found not one for well over 10 years.
I evaluate my coaches 24/7, 365 days a year, trust me.
Verbally?
I do it anytime I need to.
So written evaluations weren't done?
No, I didn't do written evaluations. Never in my 32 years as an AD, I've never done.
Did you think that may have been necessary just to have a trail of things?
No, I don't think. Why do you need a trail? You need a trail if you're trying to get rid of people. I hire people so they'll be successful.
Criticism of nepotism arose as Jurich's daughter recently landed a full-time position with Adidas, and his son Mark has been employed for many years in the athletic department.
He came over, and he was paid out of the president's office because he's not allowed to be supervised by me. That's the only nepotism law there was. So they paid him from out of the university's office.
You didn't say, Jim, hey, my son would be great for this job.
No, because at the time he was entry level. He came in. He's grown into this role and done a spectacular job. And nobody is tougher on any employee than I am on my son.
At age 61, he's been paid a total of nearly $20 million over the past 7 years. He was 4 years away from collecting a $3 million incentive if he were still on the job at age 65. He's now fighting for a contract that would have run until 2026, a contract with bonuses and many expenses paid.
U of L says you got richer by cutting side deals with Jim Ramsey and then kept those deals secret. Your pay, the country club memberships, U of L pays your taxes. People in town were saying, well, nobody pays my taxes. At one point, did you feel you were overpaid?
I never did. I felt that I was earning every penny.
You have to articulate that you're in fear for your life.
Thou shalt not kill.
No, don't shoot anybody in the back.
Unless there's a legitimate threat.
If you're in your house and you woke up in the middle of the night and somebody's in your home. He's dead, man.
Not the typical commandments.
Do not. I repeat, do not just throw a firearm in a purse.
But off to the left of the pews at New Horizon Baptist Church in Hardin County.
Make sure you get a safe holster.
Just outside the sanctuary.
Nobody really knows how many guns are actually in Kentucky.
This Saturday sermon,
think about it,
preached verses from this booklet.
Firearms. That's the main premise of this course.
Scripture from the Commonwealth of Kentucky on carrying concealed deadly weapons. State certified instructor Josh Lindblom.
So we're lined up. Huh?
Teaches the 6-hour permit course at the church.
There's any lint, brush it out.
Administers the open book multiple choice test.
Go ahead and pass those forward.
And then takes the class out.
Let's go.
To test their aim. Getting hands-on with handguns.
Raise it up. Aim a fire. Aim a fire. There you go.
Lindblom says...
One more, right? I don't think so. Go.
His concealed carry classes are always full.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Equal opportunity for all ages over 21.
77 years young, right?
Yeah. All races.
Perfect.
All skill levels. Experienced.
You just passed.
Oh, yeah.
To first-time shooters.
There you go.
Supposed to use 1 eye, 2 eyes.
New to this caliber.
There you go. Great shot. Right
of personal protection.
Perfect shots, Michael.
Concealed carry licenses are on target for another big year, jumping more than 60% from 2015 to 2016. The statewide total more than doubling since 2010.
On the bodies. Good job.
Thank you.
They're not gun nuts. These are regular citizens, law-abiding citizens.
So why the church?
You can pray all day long and stuff that something doesn't happen, but you never know.
Lindblom says, in the beginning, many in the congregation wanted to qualify.
There's been 4 congregations here that I've helped, put stuff together for them.
The church's pastor admitted to the I-Team that he often carries a pistol at the pulpit.
Well, sure. There's people in the congregation that do.
That today, at least 50% of his flock can legally be packing in the pews.
Well, there's a lot of desperate things happening out there, and just people want to be ready for it.
It's not just happening in rural America. Urban church communities realize evil can walk in at any time.
There's no more just leaving the doors open. It's serious.
At Sunday service, heightened security was in the sermon at Louisville's Little Flock Missionary Baptist Church.
Turn to your neighbor and tell them, if you see something, say something.
The I-Team was already exploring concealed carry at churches weeks ago. But after Texas,
if it can happen there, it can happen here.
The narrative didn't change. It just got bigger.
It's a real sad commentary.
Charleston, South Carolina, 2015. Antioch, Tennessee, September 24th. Now, Sutherland Springs, Texas.
Just know that, we are prepared if something would happen.
Senior pastor Bernard Creighton says faith isn't enough when it comes to threats.
And you always got your eyes open about who that is and what are they here for, and are they with somebody.
And let me tell you what I know about God. He's waiting there. Some of you right now, he's knocking at your heart right now.
Although Reverend Creighton is watching,
and Jesus,
he's not packing at the pulpit.
I am not carrying a weapon when I come into the sanctuary.
But others are.
Cannot say.
And like air marshals, you just don't know who you're sitting next to in your row.
We're not going to let anybody just come into our churches and just start shooting. Everybody is welcome to come to church. But if you're coming to do evil, I think you're in for a rude awakening.
How much more of this can we take? One side says something and then the other side fires back. Many of us are stuck in the middle, so we look for an escape. And for many, that's the world of entertainment. One ticket and a tub of popcorn, please. Thank you. And don't you know it?
And if you kick them all out, you'll have nothing to watch but football and mixed martial arts, which are not the arts.
More politics. Thanks, Merrill. Thanks, Trump. The Academy Awards are on this weekend. Nothing political there, right? But what if the answer is here? What if those who work for us can find common ground here at the movies? So we asked some lawmakers, what's your favorite political movie?
Well, I would say Enemy of the State, because it's a great movie. It's action-packed, but it also depicts sort of a government run amok looking at all of our stuff, you know, as far as NSA kind of spying on its own citizens.
We purposely did not tell the lawmakers what others had said.
This is going to knock your socks off. My favorite political movie is Bulworth.
My favorite movie related to politics and government is Lincoln.
In an effort to get the most natural and honest answer.
Fruitvale Station, because it's timely. It talks about what we're addressing right now in this country with police violence and shooting of unarmed black men. And so Fruitvale Station is a movie that I would encourage folks to watch.
The most important, influential movie in my life, for the political life, would be the movie Amazing Grace.
The responses were wide-ranging, but there was a common thread among some Kentucky House Republicans.
My favorite political movie is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Well, I'm not licked. And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause, even if this room gets filled with lies like these.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I think it's very timely in the political climate that we're in now, and he didn't give up.
I mean, it's old black and white, but I just love it, and every time I watch it, I just get that passion within my heart.
Somebody will listen to me.
Have you been threatened if you tell the truth?
Is there a cover-up?
A pair of Democrats named another classic.
All the President's Men, I think, does a really good job chronicling a true event in our nation's history, and it is a pretty fascinating watch.
Well, it really educated me on the process and the importance of transparency.
And others try to make a case for their movies to fit the category.
And it's A Few Good Men. And it's my favorite political movie because it's about speaking truth to power. It's about standing up to those more powerful when they have wronged those that have been harmed.
I like the movie Patton. You know, what a great guy General Patton was. And, you know, if you're going to be a general of an army, you got to be a pretty good politician. So.
Patton? A Few Good Men? Some might argue those are not political movies. Then again, I consider Die Hard to be a Christmas movie.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Far from Nakatomi Plaza, we found an agreement in the White House. Dave and the American President.
I love the movie Dave. You know, if you're going to look at politics, you might as well laugh a little bit. So I love that movie because it's fun.
I once caught a fish this big.
It is very goofy, but, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility. You could have a body double, become president, and be extremely successful.
You're a very handsome man. Thank you, Mr. President.
I have two favorite political movies, Dave and The American President, and it's because they're both love stories.
It's funny, it has romance, it's political, and I've seen it dozens of times.
The president's expecting our full support.
Yes, he is.
The president's dreaming, AJ. The president
Sydney?
has critically misjudged reality. If he honestly thinks that the environmental community is going to whistle a happy tune while rallying support around this pitifully lame mockery of environmental leadership, then your boss is the chief executive of Fantasyland.
Good morning, Mr. President. How are you today? I couldn't be better.
The issues that they portray in the movie are so close to my heart: jobs, justice, equality, environmental issues. So, and Annette Bening is just wonderful in the movie, and Michael Douglas.
Dave's a comedy. The American President is a love story. So while it's nice that people on both sides of the aisle can agree on those movies, who's going to argue against a good laugh or tug of the heartstrings? Ready for a plot twist? This is my favorite part. I call it common ground, with the most powerful man on the left and the right.
Well, my favorite political movie is The Candidate, starring Robert Redford.
Well, I think The Candidate with Robert Redford.
Democrat Congressman John Yarmuth and Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had no idea what the other had chosen.
Don't tell me what I know. Don't make me. Will you give me some? Put that damn phone down and let's get this straight. I want to know what the hell this campaign is.
The men worked together years ago, but have well-publicized differences today.
Look uptight and uncool. Nobody's listening. Nobody's digging you.
He was a self-funder who won a Senate race.
What it does is explain, I think, very, very well the pressures that are on candidates and politicians to compromise their principles.
Not only did they both name the Robert Redford classic, they even quoted the most famous line.
And the last scene, he turns to his campaign manager after winning the race.
When he was elected to the Senate, Robert Redford said,
What do we do now?
Marvin, what do we do now?
Wait a minute, what?
What do we do now?
So what do we do now? Maybe it's time for a popcorn summit and a reminder that even in an uncertain world, if you look close enough, you can find a kernel of common ground. Chris Williams, WHAS 11 News.
Sometimes it's the places you haven't been that teach you the most. So we're driving now to go and get a lady who's never been to the West End to get her reaction. Here we are. All right, let's see what she has to say. I enlisted the help of radio personality Easy Bluegrass, who grew up in the West End, and I knew he would be a great tour guide. Why haven't you been over to the West End?
It's dangerous from what I see on TV.
A snapshot of a community, a neighborhood often captured in its darkness.
I'm sure there's great people in the West End. I know there are.
But the light does shine through. What do you think it's going to be like when we go over there today?
Eye-opening. And I'm sure it's beautiful. Just hadn't had the desire to go.
We asked longtime Kentucky resident Shirley Maxey to take a tour of the West End with us, a place she hasn't really visited.
I'm anxious to go see all that today.
She splits her time between East Louisville and Hart County these days, but on this day, she would experience the Russell, Chickasaw, and Shawnee neighborhoods.
See you in a few, West End.
First stop, 26th and Broadway, Lyles Mall.
There's a mall. I mean, I didn't know there was a mall here. Never heard of this mall. And this is very interesting.
Welcome to the legendary Better Days West.
It's Shirley Maxey's first time in popular record store Better Days West.
I'm coming back because they got old school music here that you can't find anywhere else. So yes, I will be back.
And now to a place that Maxey had only heard about, and not all good things. What did you think about Shawnee Park before you came here?
I thought it might be run down, because I didn't know. I'd never been here. And that's sad to say because it's not run down at all. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. This is very educational. Thank you.
Shawnee Park, the anchor of the West End, and neighborhoods tucked away in its landscape. What do you think when you see this neighborhood?
That you're not in the West End.
Houses that could be in any development in Louisville, quietly calling West Louisville home.
This is beautiful. I'm simply amazed by what I've seen. That I never thought that I would see this.
A historic community seen through new eyes. All it took was a little time.
I have a totally different mindset about West End. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to see it through y'all's eyes.
How do you say goodbye to your child?
Every day is a struggle. For the first 2 years, I literally cried every single day.
Tears of pain and a void that can never be filled again.
How does Mother's Day feel to you now?
Empty. It will not seem like Mother's Day. My one and only son is not here to tell me Happy Mother's Day. He was taken. It's not the same.
Even though I have other children, it's still not the same. You still feel that emptiness from the one child that's not there. That was my eldest son. I can still remember some of the Mother's Days when he was younger, teenager, and he used to bring me roses off of the neighbor's rose bush and put them in a vase and make his own little Mother's Day cards. And it really meant a lot to me.
The first 2 years, I just basically just laid around and just cried because just the thought of my son not being here, it's just sadness. Things will never be the same.
These 4 moms all lost their sons to violence.
Larry Brewer III, 22.
Adrian Cook, 17. Steve Bledsoe, 24 years old.
Lamartez Griffin, 17 years old.
His last words was tell my mama I love her. And that is one of the most honey things that sticks with me.
To be shot in broad daylight, to be taken, the community lost a good person.
Heartache brought them together just days before Mother's Day, but they're using their bond to send a message to the community.
Just want everybody to wake up. Wake up. Our lives are precious.
Our lives are worth more than any money, any car, any drug. Our lives are precious, and we're worth more than that.
They are an exclusive group, one that hurts, one that cries, and one that grieves. Hope has not left their hearts, but they admit sometimes they have to look a little bit harder to find it.
Deep into the forest named after Daniel Boone, down logging roads and forest paths the famed explorer himself may have once roamed. 4 hours from downtown Louisville, no GPS is going to guide you here. Why are we here? With Metro Louisville's surrounding counties in southern Indiana getting history-making visits from black bears, we wanted to see for ourselves where most of them are coming from. So WHAS 11 News photographer Chris Bryant spent 2 days with John Hast. He's the bear program coordinator for the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife.
So why are black bears showing up in our area? Well, it's as simple as looking at this map. Zoom in to the whole eastern portion of Kentucky and take a look. It's as green as can be. The perfect habitat for these bears to survive. Now, I'm 6'4". Adult males can reach up to 6 feet tall, and they can weigh up to 500 pounds and can run 25 to 30 miles per hour. Now, the first bear in our story is a female, and she stands about 5 feet tall. She can have up to 18 cubs in her lifespan. Their average lifetime on Earth is 18 years in the wild, and males have a territorial range of 150 miles or more. That's why we're seeing them in our area. It's easy to see how you could soon be face to face with a full-grown black bear.
And the winner is Bernie!
Bernheim Forest.
Bernie was great for Bernheim.
20 minutes south of the Gene Snyder Freeway in Louisville had a naming contest for the black bear photographed by a visitor. Named Bernie, he hasn't been seen again, but his impact has been enormous. That's the very reason Hast and his team are hooking camouflage cameras to trees. Smearing molasses, peanut butter, and spreading honey buns all around trees, they are simple treats to lure them in. Under this canopy of cut trees and brush,
just to lay under it to feel it.
A snare trap of cable wire.
We use a leg snare. It goes around their wrist, just above their hand, and they've got really thick fur, so no damage ever to the animal.
Ready to capture and track the next black bear that could someday make its way to Kentuckiana. With his team of biologists, some of whom he's training, Hast is able to set 6 of these traps all over the forest land.
The whole goal is to have them in the snare as short of a time as possible.
Bears in Kentucky had disappeared around 1900, 80 years after Daniel Boone's death. They only came back in the late 1980s, traveling in from nearby states.
The good thing about bears is you can get them to step where you want them to.
With several traps, cell phone trail cams alert them to what's been hit. And on this day,
yeah, we've got 6 set, 5 of them got hit. It's either you're going to miss them or you're going to catch them good. You're allowed to miss them on day 2, but day 3, we'll do 7 MIGs per kick, give me 2.5 mils.
Suddenly the camera tells them they've got one.
So I'm basically going with everything I need if we needed another dart.
Carrying his tranquilizer rifle into the woods, we hooked our GoPro camera to the hat of his assistant. And there in the distance,
that's a little one. That's perfect. That's about 10 yards on the money, isn't it?
2 rounds of darts will take down the small bear. After a short wait,
all right, let's ease in the quiet display. So first thing I'm doing, I'm looking, I see my dart, okay? I'll stick that in the tree. I'm making sure she ain't gonna whip my ass. That's a nice little female.
The bear, about 2 to 3 years old, is out cold. Listen, and you can hear her breathing. They've now got 3 hours to do their studies before the anesthesia wears off.
Yeah, we're going to put an ear tag in her. We're going to tattoo as well.
And the work begins. A tooth sample.
There it is. All right.
Measuring those paws.
13, All right, give me an ear length.
They are watching the clock closely.
She ain't gonna eat me. Just grab that upper leg until they're basically sideways. Just leave that leg dangle. Okay.
Dousing the bear with cold water to cool her down. A tracking collar is placed around her neck so they can later follow the female bears into their winter dens.
We're really interested in reproductive outputs of these bears.
And the only way to find that out, well, count for yourself. As the bears give birth and hibernate, from February to March, Hast and crew go inside the dens to see the newborn cubs for themselves as they are nursing. Take a look at these amazing pictures from past discoveries. Mother bear is out like a light. A close-up of the 3 newborn cubs right here. Have you ever seen eyes that blue?
Tom, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Great to be here in sunny Kentucky.
I was going to say you brought the London weather with you.
Absolutely. Ounce and a half of that. And as I said, we're going to put this lovely English spin on it. So we've got English ingredients as well. Some elderflower. We've got some Pimm's English liqueur in there. You guys have Pimm's before?
I have not had Pimm's before.
Yeah, so it's lovely, fruity. It's going to balance out with our Woodford Reserve.
Okay.
It's a quintessential English summertime drink as well. And then we're going to go in with our mint syrup, so sweeten it up. And we've got a dash of Earl Grey bitters as well. I'm going to go ahead and ice this up for you guys.
Earl Grey, I love it because that's my favorite tea as well.
Absolutely. Super English English high tea. So we've got loads of crushed ice going in here. We want to slowly dilute the drink. So ideally you should have your julep in between races, so it's going to last you about an hour.
And there go the first ones in.
I just heard squeals.
There you go.
You can tell they're searching the bags, and some of them are already running to get their spot. Some are hanging out under the awning with us going, how badly do I want to go in there just
There
now?
they go. They decided it was bad enough to go ahead and put the poncho on and hit the rain.
We are as close as you can get to the winner's circle, and I'm talking with some of the thousands of people that are on staff here at Churchill Downs that have been here hours already this morning getting prepared for those larger crowds. It's starting to rain a little bit, so thankfully we are in one of the owner's suites, and it's actually Patches.
Right.
You guys are rooting for this. This is going to be someone with Amber and Sherman security and a service person for the owners and traders for Patch.
Yes,
What's it going to be like for you today?
It is going to be absolutely exciting. We are rooting for all of our owners and trainers. Whoever to win, we're going to root for them all. But it's an absolutely honoring experience to be my first year actually working the Derby and to be able to serve some of the Winner's Circle owners and trainers this year.
You can hear how solid the track sounds. It's very muddy, but very solid underneath that mud is there. Many of the horses are out training, and it's interesting, Derek and Juliana, you mentioned that the white suit, many people on the backside are taking bets on whether I can keep this suit white throughout the day or whether I'm going to get splashed by mud. In fact, our photojournalist Nick Goldring heard one of the jockeys joking with one of the trainers about maybe they could get close enough to the railing to splatter me with mud. But these folks are out here every year. How are you this morning?
I'm fine. How are you this morning?
Good. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Teresa, and I'm right here from Louisville, Kentucky.
How does this day match up to other derbies you've been at? A little chilly?
A little chilly, a little sloppy, but still fun.
The lady next to you was smart. She has a beautiful derby quilt on. What's your name?
Patty.
Patty, are you warm?
No.
But you're honest, and we appreciate that. Why come back here to turn 3?
Because it's great. It's just great. Laid back, easy people, you know, our own coolers.
Got to be family to be back in this area, and these people really do treat you like family when you run into them, when you meet them. And this gentleman here we met last year, he's treating us like family. How you doing?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Okay, what's the hot tip for today?
To cash tickets.
What about, do you have a horse?
I do have a horse.
Are you going to share that horse with me?
Always dreaming.
Notice that Bob Baffert's not here. Well, he is sort of. You've got Looking at Lee, Looking at Lucky. Everybody remember that horse? That was Bob Baffert's horse. He's tied in. He's tied in as he's gone off to California.
I know. A couple of days ago, he stopped the car, rolled down the window, and yelled out, "I feel like I'm going to the prom and I don't have a date."
I think he made up for that yesterday with his surprise with Abel Tasman.
Nobody saw that coming.
Well, thank you so much, Gary. I know you're going to join us back here with more of your picks and more of your stories from the backside of the track. And we are going to have more of our special extended coverage of Kentucky Derby 143 right after this.
And the Chief Entertainment Officer, you know him, Tim Laird, will also be joining us here live at the Kentucky Derby Museum. But I like Thunder Snow because it's near and dear to my heart. I was on the air with Rachel in '94 when our building started rattling in the winter storm of '94, and we said to Ken Schultz, "What is that?" And he said, "You've never heard the term before, Doug, but it's thunder snow, and it's coming down in buckets."
All right. I'm going to stay with McCracken. Classic Empire second, Gunavera third. And your saver bets, put $2 on Gunavera, Hence, State of Honor, Gormley. Also, I believe my good friend Tom Amos had bet $2 on Untrapped, 59-1. That sounds good to me.
So that's advice, whether you want to take it or not. We've had fun making our picks as we've been watching these horses for 2 weeks now, it seems, so up close and personal. Thanks for joining us here from the Derby Museum.
And hopefully it'll be dry at race time. Thanks for watching us this morning. We do appreciate it. Have a great morning, everyone. Happy Derby.
All these people, Nick, are here for you. May all the souls of the faithfully departed through the mercy of God rest in peace.
And it is now the final goodbye for Metro Police Officer Nick Rodman, killed in the line of duty at the age of 30. His funeral services are about to get underway at Southeast Christian Church.
I promise that we will continue to honor the commitment that you and your families are making to our city. So help me God.
You can see the flag on it, so again, it makes its way now, as you said, getting ready to go into the hearse to take it. Officer Rodman, our hero, as you have definitely been calling him, and he certainly earned it. We'll be taking him to Cave Hill, but that's what they're doing now.
Earlier in the funeral, we saw the officers with the white gloves, and you said are they the pallbearers?
Yes. Yep. And then you have the honor guard standing on each side of the back of the funeral limousine. And there, I think you can just barely see the striped flag going into the back of the limousine, carried by the officers wearing the white gloves that are picked by the family.
And the carnations, how were they being used?
At gravesite.
At gravesite.
It's kind of like the final goodbye.
The final
thing that you leave, a piece of yourself.
As a squad member, yeah.
Yeah.
More people are starting to come. I'm told Baxter is not closing. I've been talking to police, but it's probably best to come out here along the Highlands if you do still want, you have some time to come out here and watch that final entrance into Cave Hill Cemetery. We'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Tabney, and our viewers once again continue to talk to us on our Facebook page. Jessica Sanders writes, "I still can't believe this has happened. I went to school with Nick. He was such a funny and good guy. He was nice to everyone. He is exactly the kind of guy you would want to be a cop." And so many people here talking about what a wonderful service this was today. Beautifully done.
Yeah,
and showed the personality
comments
of the police officer. Live in the Portland area, the residents there who have depended so much on strong police coverage, even of the last 5 years, if things have turned in that part of our city. They're going to miss him. They called him Officer Nick.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, you know, he had that relationship. He wasn't just a cop driving by in a squad car. He had that personal relationship. And when you go in there and you talk to them and they see you as a person and you treat them as you want to be treated, you're going to be very popular. And they want their community to be safe, and maybe they're going to help you catch some bad guys.
And I must say, I really appreciate the notes that are coming into us now from people who live in the Portland area. We haven't heard from many of the folks down there since this tragedy, and they are reeling as well. Lori Westerfield says, Nick Rodman is going to be missed dearly. He used to get us cracking up. And I look at his pictures all the time and I start to cry. I am in the Portland area and he will be missed dearly.
A casket draped with red, white, and blue. A final farewell to a true hero at Cave Hill Cemetery.
This is the final call for 123 Baker, Officer Nick Rodman.
Officer Nick Rodman's brothers and sisters in blue stood at attention, paying their respects to one of their own killed in the line of duty. 30 years old, with only 3 years on the force, his legacy will live on as the next generation, 2 young boys, stand at attention to honor the fallen officer. The final radio call for Rodman broadcast at the gravesite.
Officer Rodman served the Louisville Metro Police Department and the citizens of Louisville Metro with honor, integrity, and distinction.
Special moments like this happened throughout the day. Officer Rodman's division embraced supporting each other along with Police Chief Steve Conrad.
Nick's sacrifice will never, ever be forgotten. He will be remembered forever as a true hero.
But through the tears, there was time for laughter, telling stories that painted a colorful picture of Officer Rodman.
And then there's Carly. This poor girl never stood a chance with Nick as a big brother. Whenever a boy would come to the house to pick her up, Nick would call his dad with the boy's license plate, just in case Dad wanted to investigate.
3,500 people filed out of Southeast Christian Church, leading the way for Officer Rodman. An 11-mile drive to Cave Hill Cemetery filled with support. Fire trucks and firefighters greeted Officer Rodman from the shoulders of I-64 to the overpasses of Browns Lane and Cannons Lane. As the procession got closer to Grinstead, drivers on the opposite side of the interstate stopped, showing their respect. Old Glory welcomed him to his final destination. A sea of blue stood by to welcome their brother home with full honors. A final salute for an officer who made the ultimate sacrifice for the community he loved.
He has gone home. May he rest in peace.
Many of Louisville's greats have been buried in Cave Hill Cemetery. Officer Rodman will join his brother in blue, Officer Peter Grignon. He was the last officer killed in the line of duty. Spokesperson tells us the two will be about a half a mile apart.
Having children is a parent's greatest joy. It was for Neil and Lucy Payne, the proud parents of 6 kids, 3 biological, 3 adopted.
We are busy.
They started the adoption process 3 years ago. Skylar, Kiera, and Zaylin becoming permanent Payne family members earlier this year. Neil isn't just a husband and a dad. He's also a foster parent recruiter. He and his wife have fostered 14 children since 2013.
I wish I could take them all in. I wish I had a place that I could, any kid that needed a home had a place to go.
5 years ago, 6,000 children were in the state's care. Today, there are more than 8,600 foster children. The increase due in large part by parents who have lost custody because of their addiction to opioids. The phrase opioid orphans becoming an all too familiar and common reality.
When someone is struggling with addiction, that can override someone's ability to care for their child.
Josh Swetnam is the foster care program manager at Louisville's Boys and Girls Haven, a nonprofit that provides a safe haven for children in state care.
The crisis is big, and we have to have as many people involved to help fight the good fight.
Since its start in 1948 through 2015, the Boys and Girls Haven found homes for more than 5,000 abandoned, abused, and neglected children. Last year alone, they served the needs of 1,034 kids.
This is such important work because these children are our future.
Swetnam has 2 adopted children, an 8-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. Swetnam says his daughter came from a family with a history of abuse. He knows there are other children with similar experiences that have not been given the chance to become part of a forever family.
Even if someone has a heart to just support a young person who's in foster care, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a tutor, and certainly as a foster parent, we would love to have as many people as we can involved.
A parent's drug addiction can happen well before their children become toddlers or teens. Doctors at Norton Healthcare's prenatal addiction program are treating more infants who experience drug withdrawals after birth, a consequence of the mother's drug use during pregnancy.
We're going to have to reach a critical mass to get the kind of
help and attention and support that we need to really address this crisis.
It's called neonatal abstinence syndrome, and doctors estimate it affects 1 in every 200 births nationally. In Kentucky, doctors say it's even more prevalent, closer to 1 in every 100 births. Kentucky law does not require doctors to notify law enforcement if newborns are experiencing those withdrawals. Norton Healthcare offers recovery programs for expectant mothers, currently working with 160 soon-to-be moms.
We're trying to maintain contact with our patients even after birth, primarily to be sure that they're well, the baby's well. We're encouraging them to continue their efforts at recovery beyond the delivery.
Back at the Boys and Girls Haven, it is putting out the call for you to be a hero, be a foster parent. So far, 9 families have come forward this year to open their homes. This 2013 home video was taken by Angela Overton. Her then 6-year-old son Byron was given a speaking part in an end-of-the-year kindergarten assembly. But listen again. It's hard to make out what Byron was saying. 4 years earlier, doctors diagnosed him with autism. Overton says it was tough sharing the video, but it's one parents need to see.
You can know that they're trying to talk, but what they're saying isn't, you don't understand.
The Mayo Clinic defines autism spectrum disorder as a condition related to brain development that impacts how a person perceives and socializes with others, causing problems in social interaction and communication. The CDC reports 1 in 68 children are on the autism spectrum. Overton says Byron had all the red flags. He had limited interest in activities. He wasn't sitting still. Byron couldn't talk about his feelings, and he enjoyed running into flat surfaces like walls. Overton says it took 9 years to potty train her son.
When your child can't communicate, not only their wants, but their needs, for a parent, it's difficult. Because you don't have the tools, the knowledge, the mindset to navigate your child in life.
Overton did what many parents would do. She took to the internet and found the Bluegrass Center for Autism.
I just immediately am uplifted with just the smiles and the laughter.
Paul Kitchler is BCA's executive director.
Bluegrass Center for Autism is really just answering a call for a need in our community for helping families and children that are affected by autism in our community.
What started in 2010 as the Academy at St. Andrews in the Louisville Church's basement by 6 families looking for a more intensive learning program for children with developmental delays has now grown to 2 Louisville campuses with 57 children, focusing solely on kids with autism.
The growth that we've seen in 6-7 years just goes to show the need that is out there and the need that's still there right now.
Show me quiet sitting.
BCA uses applied behavior analysis, or ABA, which is scientifically backed treatment that promotes meaningful and positive change in behavior.
All right, I got a purple and a red Skittle for you. Which one would you like to work for now?
Teachers use positive reinforcement to reward students for good behavior.
We are very much a subscriber to the positive reinforcement and engaging our children in a positive way, so that way we can be as loving and as nurturing as possible for our children on the spectrum.
BCA also pairs one instructor with one student, rotating children every 30 minutes. BCA is considered a medical therapeutic center and not a school, so they are not bound to a certain curriculum. There are individualized lesson plans.
The children are going to develop at their own pace, and we can help guide them to develop and to grow, but we can go at their pace.
This one looks like a cricket.
BCA is the only one-to-one ABA program in the region. It's Byron's 4th year here, his mom documenting his progress. From classroom outbursts
That's right. We are going to talk about some numbers.
to now being able to sit still, interacting with his instructor.
The yellow one. Okay, we're going to work for the yellow one.
The grace that God has bestowed upon our family, I don't have words.
BCA does charge for its services, but Kitchler says no family has left the program because of the financial costs in the 3 years he's been in charge. But 5 families have moved across country to Louisville to get their children help.
Parents who come to us are really almost at a last resort. They don't know what to do.
Kitchler says BCA is not a long-term facility. Children may age out of the program or progress to a point where they are moved to a more conventional school setting.
When a child leaves us to go to a more mainstream setting, to us that's cause for celebration.
And if there's any indication about BCA's success in treating children with autism, Byron's mom says just look at his progress.
What you doing, Byron? I'm the doctor. You're the doctor?
Just because our children have delays does not mean that they are not beautiful.
Good. You're dancing.